Hey guys, the following is a discussion with Etienne from Berzerk Studios, one of my personal favorite indie dev teams with a lineage back into the Flash era. Etienne was the lead designer on the popular cult hit Infernax. We talk about game design, marketing, the indie landscape, their visit to PAX, their failed Kickstarter campaign, and the decisions that ultimately led to the success of Infernax. I hope you enjoy this exchange. Infernax is like one of my favorite games. It's just everything about it.
Oh,
The
thanks.
design, the writing. It's so cohesive and unified. It's so sharp. The design focus. Like when you play it, if you are that target audience, you know it's for you. There's no ambiguity as to who this game is for. And I think that's so important to in this market to not try to make a game for
Yeah,
everyone, but find that audience and really hit them over the head with your design.
it's weird as you say that because it's something I said a lot of time during the production when I was speaking with some other people that some because here at Berzerk Studio we have a way of working that we always do is every project has only one director. He did, and the director did do final call for everything. It's his vision, and at the end of the day, you have to respect what the director say. And I'm the director for Infernax, and Josh Shapes and Beat is Simon. And if you go back to all our project, there's always different director, or sometimes it's me, sometimes it's someone else. And it's the thing I always say to other people when we were making Infernax is Infernax is a game for people who like Infernax. It's not a game for it's not a wide audience. So I will not do something that I don't think people who like Infernax will not like. So it's a game that I made for me. To be honest, it's a game that it's a game I would like when I was young. I grew up in that era, the NES era, and listening to heavy metal. It's really inspired by heavy metal. Fantasy movie of the time, video game of the time, and stuff like that. A lot of design choice, as you say, are for these people. So, like you say, if you're in the know, you're in the know. I didn't want to just try to please as many people as possible because it was a discussion that comes a lot because the difficulty can be really a turn off for I think younger generation. We were raised on that kind of difficulty, so we're cool with that. Also, there's a little level of crypticness, like I don't hold your hand, I don't tell you exactly where to go, I don't tell you exactly what to do. You can guess with what the thing that NPC said to you, but I really wanted to do not have an arrow and say here, right here,
Yeah.
go there,
Yeah.
because that's something that I don't like.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure people, a lot of people of my generation and people like me, like don't like that. I was a big fan of Zelda till Zelda on Nintendo 64. I know a lot of people like that. I think people that were younger, but I was getting older when that came out, and I started playing that. I was full of hope. I love every Zelda till that point, but the fairy always telling me what to do. I was kind of, yeah, I'm not stupid. Just let me play.
You know, I've always felt that, and this is
Mhm.
something I've tried to communicate to people, but I feel like I always ran into some resistance there because to this day, my favorite Zelda is still, I mean, I sound like an old man, but very much the original one, and then maybe A Link to the Past and also Zelda 2. But I'll tell you why I prefer even Zelda 1. You don't know where to bomb. By the time you got to the Game Boy
Mhm.
version and the Link to the Past, they already had the crack outlines on the wall. I know where to bomb.
Yeah.
Where in the original, my brother and I would sit there as children all day long, just bombing every like cell of every screen. It was amazing, and that was one of the most memorable gaming experiences. So when you found something, it was like aha. If there's a crack on the wall, it's no
Yeah.
aha. I know there's a secret passage
Exactly.
there.
exactly that. That's the thing I want to get the kind of dopamine hit of I found something I'm not supposed to. We know all the codes of gaming. Like, yeah, there's a crack on the wall, try to destroy the wall. Yeah, there's that, you do that. And at some point, you don't feel like you found something. You don't feel like you. So I really like that. I like having thing a little bit hidden, so you feel like a detective that try to figure out what to do. Recently, I played a game. Shout out to this developer. I don't remember their name, but they did a game called Lamentum. It's a it's a 2D horror game, and I like that game so much for some weird reason. Like it's kind of a Cthulhu, not 15, 19th century horror game, gothic horror. So and it's kind of like Resident Evil a little bit, but when you get an item and you use it, you don't discard it, even if you don't need it anymore. So you don't know if you will ever need it anymore. And sometimes you do. Sometime later in the game, an item that you get in the beginning of the game, and you think, yeah, I use it. It's not useful anymore. Yeah, it come back to you, so you use it, and you feel clever to use that. And it's pretty good game. Pretty good game. I played it 2 days ago, and really have a lot of fun. And one thing I remember that I was hooked. At some point, I have to get a sheet of paper and a pen to note codes and a weird language, and I was at that point. Okay, if I have to play with a piece of paper to figure out the puzzle, I'm good. I like that. I like that. I know a lot of people.
That's a forgotten aspect of. We used to do that a lot in the. I guess in the. I mean, even as far as Super Nintendo, we would still see this going on a lot. But it's good to see a lot of this is coming back. You know, it's in the modern indie landscape because it's like I think indie games. Susceptible to the same kind of trends like fashion. Everything is cyclical. Eventually, what was old is now kind of in vogue again, and a lot of these. So we've gone through this long kind of a hand-holding phase in the past, I guess, decade, you could say. But now, I guess, people are kind of pushing against that a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of tutorial. You can have a little bit of hidden tutorial, if you will, but having it hand-holding tutorial, I'm really against that. I don't think it's fun. I don't think it's cool.
How this ties in also, the writing in Infernax is so tight. Every word spoken in that game as a player to me feels valuable, either from an entertainment perspective or from creating a larger world in my mind as to what I'm playing in. We've all played the games where there's a lot of exposition for exposition's sake, where people are just padding and fluffing. I mean, for various reasons, either just to create additional time expansion in the game to make it, let's make increase this game length by 2 hours simply by adding more exposition that we can't necessarily skip or have to click through. It's not easy to create such tight writing that it makes such good use of the English language, And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Hunter Bond was responsible for this. Yeah, so shout out to that guy.
All the text, you have to be not able to not read it. Like if you see a character and say, "Hello, sir," you cannot not read "Hello, sir." It's so short. Your eyes see "Hello, sir." You read "Hello, sir." If there's "Hello, sir, how are you? Oh, it's a good day, blah, 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 blah," you can go skip, and never get it. So short sentence, always get to the point as soon as possible. That was one of the first guideline. Other guideline, no modern talk. People, no slang, no modern sounding talk. So these were the guideline. We cheat at some place. Like there's one place where there's unending boring text in the game, but it's because we want it to be like that, and it's so long. You just blab around, and you can at some point just stop him or just kill him on the spot to shut him up.
So that's one of the that is perhaps the most memorable aspect of Infernax, where you have this you have choices which have branching paths, but there is what I'm kind of calling to myself a morality system, where you have moral choices. Like you mentioned, you can either let him finish gas bagging, or you can put a mace to his head. You know, like that's your choice in the game. You have agency as a player to craft the adventure, and that was one of the first things that blew me away, and how I knew this game, like when I started peeling the layers of this game early on. Because when I first jumped in, I'm like, cool, it's a pixel platformer, obviously inspired by, you know, Castlevania, Simon's Quest, maybe Faxanadu on NES, so games like this. I'm like, that was already appealing. But then the first screen of the game, you have a decision to kill this enemy or try to save them with, you know, some clear their curse. So that was interesting. But then I went in, the thing that blew me away is when I went into there's like a priesthood place, and there's a treasure chest. They ask you for a charity donation, basically. So you can give them a coin, or you can smash their chest up and take all their money. And they respond in the most entertaining and hilarious way. So that moment there was one of those moments.
There's a third choice.
This is a game.
Yeah, there's a third choice too. You can give them money and then steal them, and there will be another response. The idea behind that is it was kind of hard to do, because that was not in the game at the beginning. At some point, we made a game. This game was done for a long time. We started because it was a Flash game at the beginning. So we had the game. There was only 4 dungeons. It was really small. And then we grew it to more dungeon, and it was more interesting. But we wanted a twist. So different ending with that. And it was fun. But the thing is, also at that point we were, well, yeah, it's cool. It's a morality system, and it changed the ending. But we wanted also to have feedback of your action, long run feedback. Like if you do something like if you kill the guy at the beginning, it goes like it's a bad morality, so it goes towards the bad ending. But also we wanted to have also a rapid feedback. Every time you do a choice like that, what we wanted to do is, okay, it give me something, it give me a quest, it give me an item, see the repercussion of your action. So like I fight a boss, if I do that way, if I don't, do I fight the boss anyway? And if you die and you try something else, it's totally different. So that was it's funny how late in the game this was added.
Really interesting.
Yeah. To be honest, it's one of the most fun part to design and to do, and I think it's when I play, it's the one that I like the most. And if I ever do a second one, it will be only that. All that, no main story, just a branching weird story.
How critical was that design choice to have this? The game has been a success now, you know, over 1,000 reviews. You're sitting, I think, like 93%. So just kind of intuitively, how important do you think it was that design choice to this overall success?
I think we would have a good game without it. I think we have a great game with it, and I think it's the thing that I think we would have forgotten Infernax if without that. I think this is the thing that make it unique. It's the thing that separates it from the lot. Because it's not the first game with it's not the first Metroidvania. It's maybe the first to be inspired more by the 2 black sheep of Castlevania and Zelda.
It's the difference between good and great, as you describe.
Yeah.
Good and great. And we hear this often in the industry. Like, you know, you can make a good game, but what makes a great game? And it's the great ones that go on to have, you know, success. Where I mean, and the market is becoming more and more saturated, so that bar of even good is getting higher. And so greatness, you really got to kind of try something different, try something new. And I think what you guys did definitely kind of did that. And there's so many like just Easter eggs and interesting aspects to this game that so many players don't even probably know about. You know, there's like hidden characters and things like this. And man, this wall chicken, not to spoil it for anyone, but there is this amazing wall chicken scene, obviously a nod back to the Castlevania Symphony of the Night and the others where you can kind of break a wall and get a chicken. There is a video on YouTube I found of just this moment, and it has like hundreds of thousands of views, and it's like just a 15-second clip of the wall chicken. So I guess one question to you is, when you crafted these moments, Did you do so with any kind of notion of virality or shareability in mind, which is very kind of pertinent in today's market, where a lot of people who are building games, they look at what will be viral moments and they kind of work backwards from that in a way. I mean, that's kind of that's a byproduct of a saturated market where people are desperate to get those viral moments. So they kind of say, "Hey, this would make for a good GIF." So I wonder if any of that, when you made that moment, that wall chicken moment, did you think, "Hey, this is gonna make for a great clip"?
Yeah, it was totally different motivation, to be honest. It was, when we do the game, you do a bunch of things, and then something fall in the crack, like you don't use them. So the chicken was there for a long time. We were really deep into the ending of the game, like testing and stuff like that. So at some point, what we do is we call like friend of mine that are not in video game industry, just people random that I know, and just make them try the game and just watch them play. And I watch him play, and I know that guy is a guy my age. It's one of my oldest friend, and I look at him play, and he went at that spot, because that spot I think reminded him of Castlevania, and he tried to hit the wall, and there was nothing at that spot, and at that point, and I was okay, that's here. I write it, that's here. We put the wall chicken. The wall chicken was already done, not the artwork, and we decided to do the big artwork of Alcedor puking after that, but the little wall chicken was already done, and it was that point. So it was at the testing point, like having exterior people testing, that we decide to, okay, that's the spot.
The design principles I want to talk about a little bit. As a game designer myself, I can truly appreciate them. Just, the tension building, the foreshadowing. There's so many very potent moments. What makes for good design in a game? I guess we can narrow it down to a platformer or a side scroller. It's a very vague question and very broad.
It's wide.
Yeah, no, it is absolutely. But I guess it'd be interesting, just kind of what pops into your head. What are the most important things, I guess.
What I try to do for that is just try to give real liberty, not just the impression of liberty. Even though I'm guiding the player, in Infernax, actually, you can do the castle not in order if you want. You can do the second castle before the first. You can do the fourth castle before the third. You can do the 5 before the 4th. There's still a kind of line, but I try to be as lenient as possible, like letting the player do what he want. It's pretty hard because I don't mind also just linear gameplay. So I don't think it's. You know what? I think the most important thing in gameplay is knowing what you are doing and doing that, not trying to do something else that's what you're trying to do. And it may sound weird, like if you're doing a military tactical shooter, don't try to do an RPG. Do a military tactical shooter. If you do an adventure RPG, don't try to do what's in vogue right now. Or just do what you're trying to do. So I think every time I play a game and I don't like it, it's always a game that it's something, but try to be something else. Do what you do and do it well, I think. And avoid skeleton mechanic. I call them skeleton mechanic, like it's just a mechanic that when you do like game design by the number, like, okay, I'm doing an RPG, I need a shop. Do you need a shop for real? If you need do you really need money? If you do, will you really use it? Because a lot of RPG, you have money and shop and stuff like that, but you just buy potion, or you just buy, like, it's kind of useless. It's kind of a skeleton of the mechanic, like it's there because it's supposed to be there, but it does nothing. Like I don't know if you play Diablo 3.
Diablo 2 I love. Diablo 3 I just had no interest in it.
Yeah. But if you played, I played a little bit. And when is the last time that you use your gold in Diablo 3? After, I think, 12 minutes of gameplay, gold is useless. You just go to the shop and buy potion. You have 1,000 million of them, so don't care. Just buy potion and
One thing I want to talk about, of course, is the huge update you guys are coming out with. I mean, it's rare in a sense for a game that's, a year after launch have such a significant update. I mean, fan service, basically, So, and co-op you're bringing to it. This is the primary feature. I'll geek out here for a moment because this game is such a cool game already. Like it's to me, it feels completely feature complete. But then to bring co-op into this, it's kind of like a mind-blowing notion to me to play this with like a friend or my family. And my friend Ollie, we already talked about this, that we're going to probably see, he's going to come over. We're going to sit down with some popcorn and beers or whatever and do a proper co-op of this. Because we're like, just because we want to geek out like kids and sit in front of the TV. And
that's the spirit.
Yeah. Well, what made you want to bring co-op to this game? Was it something that the community requested, or just something that you guys thought, hey, like this would be cool with co-op?
It's a thing I wanted to do for a long time. I'm always a fan of co-op game, and it's unpretentious to see it's all me because there's a lot of people that work on that. So, but I wanted to do. From the start, to be honest, I wanted the game to be co-op from the start. But when we were talking, if we do that from the start, it's a big investment. It's a lot of it will push back the game forward on the line. So it was undoable to just do it. But it's something I really wanted. I'm pretty proud of it. It's really fun. It's not just a cheap add-on. I'm really adamant about that. It's not just we put this just a copy of the hero and we do the same thing. We try to have a different gameplay. You play the other player play the squire of Alcedor. I would recommend if you play and you already play Infernax and you play with a new guy, let him play Alcedor. Just play the squire. You will have more fun because since you already played the game, it's a new character. But it's not done in a cheap way. Like you have your own progression. You have to choose what you upgrade, what you do. So all your fighting is up to you. It's not, but the story I would say is controlled by Isildur. But you really have a liberty when you are the second player to have fun. And what I didn't want is if you have it's a side scroller. So if you have two characters that do the same thing, usually you will just do the same thing and just try to see which one is the faster to do the thing. So the other character control completely different, more of a range character. So you have to really work in cooperation, and that's what I wanted to do because I'm really a big. I work alone in my house, in my office. So when I'm playing, I'm always playing cooperation because it's kind of my social. Because we all at Berzerk Studio work in our own office at home since 2013. So I'm used to work alone in my office, and when I'm playing, I really want to play. I don't play single player game anymore. It's pretty rare. So and I really like co-op game because I think it's really there's way to do good co-op and way to do bad co-op. The important thing is to focus on having the need to have communication between the two characters. Like when you play I don't know, a shooter or this game, like you will say, oh please put your shield there and cover me with your arrow. I will go and try to hit that guy. If you have to talk when you play in a co-op game, that's good. If you play a co-op game and at some point you just don't talk and do your thing. You just play single side by side. So that's really important. So I really like the game design aspect of creating a cooperation experience. So it was a lot of fun for me. That was something I wanted to do since the beginning. I wasn't able to do because it's a big part, and that's why it's there now.
Yeah, that's
And
great, man.
to push an update is a big update is still a good thing because it bring back eyes to your
Oh,
stuff. It bring
100%.
back
Yeah.
media attention. It bring back it will increase the long tail of a game. That's for sure. That's for
100%,
sure.
100%. It's
That,
yeah,
that, that,
putting
that,
putting
that's
new
we hope
wheels,
so.
putting new wheels on the cart so it can travel
Yeah.
further through the countryside. I mean, absolutely. That's a very wise decision that I think a lot of developers can learn from, because you often see a game will get released, it will go through its product cycle essentially, and then that's it. And that's probably in most cases because they are not refreshing the shoes. They are not putting in new, it's like, that's it, feature complete, we're done. Now we kick the tail through just ads or whatever, but there's nothing really necessarily new. So to kind of go through and add these new significant humps to the game.
At some point, you have to let it go, though. You have to let it go and then say, okay, I'm gonna work on something else. But yeah, I think as long as you have something to say, it's a good idea. At some point, update for the sake of update can be hard to do. I used to work on a game called Zombiedal, and we did update every 2 weeks, so it keep the game really the interest of the game really high. But at the end, we were just like out of steam. Like, what are we gonna do in 2 weeks? I don't know, man. Yeah. So if you do this kind of thing, just do update till you have something to say and then quit.
Yeah,
Do something else.
Fair enough, because there's only so many games we can make in our careers, and then we all have more ideas probably than time left. So that's unfortunately how it is. Not many people are aware of that, of the origins of Infernax. This was actually a Flash game. From my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, the game more or less was developed over a period of about 10 or so years on and off between other projects and other obligations and different. So it's kind of like a side passion project that slowly was given time, and then eventually got to a point of release, basically.
There was a lot of weird stuff happening in that game. First it was just me trying to do pixel art. And I was showed that to Simon, one of my the co-founder of Berzerk. He's a coder, and he was, oh yeah, that's cool. And Berzerk Studio was our 9 to 5, and if we wanted to do overtime or do something like that, we released the game outside on a label called Specimen Game. These were quick made game that we did in a weekend or a thing like that. So usually at the beginning, Infernax was a specimen game, did in a weekend with Simon. I think it took 2 weekends. We had a game with 4 castle. It was pretty streamlined, no fate choice and no stuff like that. Just there's some things that are still in the game that were there, like you need a thunder to summon the castle in the lake, and that was there since the beginning. But it was a pretty slim game. Like I think there was a double jump spell and a couple of different spells, but it was really simple. So we tried to push that, but the thing is, there was a religious iconography, and also at that time, also there was, I think we talked more about the crusade at the beginning, so people was kind of not sure, and religious iconography was really the thing that most of the sponsor wouldn't touch it. And some say, oh yeah, we will do that if you remove all the religious reference. The game is it's a crusader. There's a cross everywhere. It's supposed to be He fight demon. Was yeah. How can I remove? It's about Christian mythology. So how can I remove all the religious aspect from that? So yeah, I don't know. So the game was kind of shelved at that point. I remember we received an offer. The offer was kind of low, so we almost took it, but yeah, fuck it. So we shelved it, tried to show it to people and wait. And then 2013 happened, which is we had to close the studio. We because it was a kind of a transition period. The Flash was dying because we used to do Flash game and mobile game, and it was kind of the beginning of mobile gaming. So everyone wanted to be part of mobile, but they don't know how to do it. There was a lot of contract that were, oh yeah, we will give you a contract to do that, and then people choking at the last minute and stuff like that. So 2013 was really a big, tough year for a lot of developer around my part. So we had to close the studio, and we didn't win our separate way, but we had to close the studio for a couple of months. And then Infernax, we tried to do a Kickstarter on Infernax, but the game was almost complete at that point. The simple game was almost complete. So what we did, we thought we were funny. We decided to launch a Kickstarter with a $10 goal, and people didn't thought it was funny. I don't think they get the joke. So the Kickstarter kind of failed. We just got $4,000 for the Kickstarter, and it was, yeah, it's not that good. 4,000 was really not what we were expecting. So we presented at PAX, and there was a huge, huge interest for the game. So we decided to give a little bit of love on Infernax. So, but we didn't want to keep the pressure of Kickstarter. So what we did, we contacted everyone and we reimbursed everyone on Kickstarter. Because we didn't want to have the pressure of the pressure of Kickstarter, like when is the game fair gonna finish, all that thing. So we wanted to do the game of our term, and reimbursing 4,000 wasn't that bad. So but we still keep all the pledge. So people that pledge on the original Kickstarter are still, their name is in the game and stuff like that. So, and that gave us a bit of good press also, because it was at a time where there is a lot of scandal on Kickstarter, a lot of vaporware, and people were getting pissed. So this gave us a lot of good press and goodwill toward the studio. We continue to work on Infernax, and the interest of the people grew every time we show it at PAX or stuff like that. So at that point, we're committed to finish the game and make it bigger. So the thing is, it was a pretty hard production because it starts small. Usually when I do a game, I start big and then I trim down the fat. Mm-hmm. Now it was the invert. It was a small little game, and then you have to add fat on over it. So
cramming as much fat as possible on top. Hey, I got to ask, how important was, or how valuable, let's say, was the PAX, going to PAX and having a booth? I imagine that's kind of what you guys did when you mentioned the PAX. You had a proper setup where people can come and play, media interest. What was your motivation for that? Was it just kind of like just to, I mean, it's something I even have an interest in, but I kind of recognize that these days it doesn't really necessarily move the needle in terms of sales. It's more just to kind of get player exposure and maybe also just have the experience in a way as well. There's an aspect to that, which is kind of just to be out there with a cool game and see what people think.
I think it will. It give you player exposure, but it give you something else also. It give you media exposure, and also it will give you. You will have imagine you have your game at PAX. And there's a lot of player playing your game and having fun, and there is a producer that are there, and they see that, and they say, "Oh, there's something there." So I think that's producer and media. You go there, it's like a microcosm, and the player, you have to uh, to try to seduce the player, but the one that are looking that you want to look is if you want to have a publisher, if you want to have media coverage or something like that, they are there and they see if they get interested if there's a buzz around your game. So that's a good place to kind of get the ball rolling.
I imagine that not every game necessarily translates well to such a kind of
Yeah.
a setting. I think you need a very hands-on, kind of quick, fast-paced, kind of interesting, quick
Oh,
turnaround
yeah.
session game. Where if you come there with something like RTS that takes 3 hours to get into, I mean, it's not really going to translate. You need that punchy experience
Yeah.
that's going to capture people very quickly, I imagine.
But other thing to say about that, you do a vertical slice for that. You don't just bring your game and just you take your game, you find part of your game that are interesting. You just put that together. You put the end, the beginning to that. You try to have a small take your game and just put a little bit of it. You may take imagine your let's take your game. Maybe you take you want to bring Blood and Meat to PAX. You don't take like level 1 and just let people play. You take maybe you think okay, my most interesting level is level 3 and level 4 where there's a boss, and maybe level 10. So you put them all together and try to mush something. You have to have a self-contained story. Like our demo at PAX was the beginning of the game till the first boss, and we change some spell. Like we give some stronger spell earlier. We change the XP curve, like you gain level way faster in the demo. So you have to take your experience and make it a 15-minute bite.
Mm-hmm. Bringing your game, crushing it down, and rebalancing the numbers so that they can feel what mid and like late game might feel like. Tease that experience without completely destroying it as well.
Yeah, you don't lie. You don't put something that is not in the game. You just make it interesting, and also have a good end. Like we end after the end of the castle. It's a boss fight, and then thank you for playing. Like it's interesting. So people come back to our booth because they wanted to. Okay, I have to finish it. I want to kill the boss. So it was kind of a challenge. Like you try to have a little 15-minute with the beginning and the end. So also because there was I wasn't there. I wasn't at PAX. Hunter and Mike, our marketing guy, these are the one that go there most. And Hunter told me there was a kid, and the kid went every day of PAX to try to kill the boss, and he was able at the absolute end of PAX. And usually I think they was give them trinket when they beat the boss, and there was no trinket left. So and what they did, they made a fake 80s basement. Like there was old couch and old TV and old stuff and old picture framed on the wall. So they gave them part of the background of the and signed it and just gave him to the kid, and the kid was happy.
That's like the ultimate gift. How far before release were you guys at PAX?
Oh, I think 2 years before.
2 years. Was there any doubt you had about any aspect of the game pre-launch that in kind of that you were worried about, or you weren't sure was going to kind of work out, or was there is there anything in the design that was a bit of a concern?
To be honest, at the end of the production, it was because we had a publisher, and it was okay. And at some point, you have a date, and to be honest, you're kind of too focused to have doubt. If you catch my drift,
Mhm.
you are running to the finish. Your doubt is, am I going to finish it? That's your only doubt.
Mm.
I have to do as much as I can. I have to. Is it clear? I think the most doubt, because everything has to be clear without spoon feeding it. So I think that's was maybe a thing that we try to fix as much as possible. But as I say, at the end, the three last month was a race to the end. So
Mm.
no place for doubt. You're just running, so you're not doubting
Yeah.
anything.
I like it, right? There's no at that point if you're doubting, you're in maybe in the wrong business at that point because there's there's
To
so
be
many
honest,
challenges along the way that at some point we have to kind of own it and we have to
yeah,
we have to see our vision for what it is.
at some point you have to fix yourself deadline. You have to to say, that's good enough. And eh, it's really important at some point to just say, fuck it, it's good enough. And sometime we try to be as much we want to polish our game till the end of time, but it's not a good idea.
Mm.
At some point, people don't care.
Mm.
That's also like you have to put your money where it shows on screen, and because every second you put in the game is money that you put in the game, and it has to be shown on screen, be interesting. Like sometimes there's bug, and when we fix bugs, is it a game breaking bug? If yes, of course we fix it. If is it infuriating to the player? If it's not infuriating, sometimes it's not worth to fix it. Like yeah, imagine in the Castle 4, if you go upward attack, dash toward that wall in the background. At some point, you will clip through the wall, and if you are in the wall and just trying to grind through the wall, at some point it's kind of
Mm.
your fault. I don't say that our collisions are bad, but it's not a game breaking bug. It's not an infuriating bug. It's not something at some point you yeah just
Mm.
it's not that big of a deal, and it's not money well spent to fix that. If you can fix something really more infuriating
Mm.
or just add something interesting to the game instead of doing that. So yeah, at some point you have to say, yeah, that's good enough.
Well, yeah, that makes a lot
Yeah,
of sense, man. And
yeah.
your words have we've had conversations about this in the past, and your
Mhm.
words had really stuck with me. This notion of money being all over the screen, all over the work, analyzing where are you spending the money, and it had me
Yeah,
restructuring a lot of things for the better, and just I guess changing my philosophy of being careful not to overcomplicate things unnecessarily. Quite
yeah.
often we will inadvertently overcomplicate something in the pursuit of perfection or something. And
Is it fun? Is it fun? That's the only thing. Is it fun? Is it cool for the player to do that? Does it bring something to the game, or is it just stroking your ego? I'm guilty of that as well. Sometimes you just start and oh, I will do that, and it will be so cool, and you're kind of pie in the sky, and at some point, yeah, nobody will care except me. So it has to be fun, and every money that you put, and by money I say time, effort, resource, anything, has to be for the good of the game, and has to be, is it fun, is it cool, is it infuriating? Because if it's something that will make a player rage quit because it's unfair, that you have to fix that. But it's if it's infuriating a little bit, it's not that big of a deal if it's by design.
mm,
So because if you're infuriating by design and then you win, it's just sweeter. So
I think I'll
So
have to
yeah,
put that on a post-it note and stick it on my wall. Yeah,
yeah,
because
it's good enough.
and one of the things we deal with as kind of indie developers connected to the kind of social space, people often send us on little witch hunts with their feedback, and because often in my case, I'm developing in public, and putting stuff
Hmm.
out there, and people give feedback, good feedback, constructive feedback, and then kind of then you get hate mixed within there, and then you got people who have something to say but don't quite know how to make it constructive. So you can make it constructive for them. Like it might look like criticism of the worst kind, but there is often a nugget of truth in there. But then you have this other feedback which can be identified as just people adding complexity to your process, like stuff that doesn't matter. Like somebody was talking about the eyelashes on my character. It's like, man, the character is going to be this small by the time it's in game. Don't worry about it, and I could be tweaking
Yeah,
eyelashes for weeks and basically going in circles, and when a whole game needs to be built, so this is
yeah.
an idea of where is the money, and not
Uh,
necessarily trying to appease everyone, because you cannot
that's
please
a
everyone.
that's a thing I see a lot of time, and to be honest, it doesn't come from a bad place. Usually, it's just you ask people to find something wrong, so they make their job to find something wrong. Well, I will not put money on eyelash because it's
Yeah.
not an eyelash simulator game, you know. So
Yeah, yeah, man.
I get exactly what you said.
Yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough one navigating. I mean, we deal with so much as game developers. We have to wear so many different hats. Now marketing and social relations has become this huge hat and burden that we have to carry. It's something we never had to do in the early, I guess, days of Flash publishing. We would just make a game in a vacuum. If the publisher likes it, they'll get a sponsor. You'll get a sponsorship, and that's it. But now we kind of have to go out there and do a bit of guerrilla
Yeah,
marketing.
yeah. There's so much time in the day.
Mm.
You have to do to make game and to so that's why right now we have people in the team that are dedicated mostly to that.
Mm.
Just community manager, and we are, I think, 10 right now in the team, and there's two people just on marketing,
Yeah, nice.
just to talk to people and stuff like that. Also, the guy on marketing is also the writer, so as you say, many at.
Mm.
And but yeah, I cannot. I try. I did a little bit of Twitch for a while. I tried to draw on Twitch too, but it didn't work because I'm trying to draw, and I'm drawing, but I just try to entertain people. So I'm not focusing
Yeah,
on what I'm at work. I'm just trying to entertain people. So
yeah,
it
yeah.
was kind of a failure.
I, I,
And
I, I tried that once too. I saw some people doing development sessions on Twitch. I gave it one
mhm,
go and I realized this is very distracting to my process. And I
yeah,
was so considerate of what I'm doing on screen.
yeah,
Putting
yeah. It's pretty difficult to
mm,
to be a developer and then do marketing on your own and just talk to people and not separate the two, because what you do is pretty cool. Like you have your YouTube channel, but it's and your your game, the game that you do, but they are kind of separate. Even though you talk about it, you don't just talk about that, you talk about other thing. And sometimes when you're ready, you can talk about what's
mm.
going on in the game, but it's pretty it's not raw footage, it's footage that you can edit, so that's cool.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then you can
exactly.
have more like talking with people like we do right now,
Mm,
or
yeah.
just analyzing
But you know why? You
Kickstarter.
know why, Tien? Because I just love the industry. I love the market. I have an interest. Not I have an interest in my own project for sure, but I also have a keen interest in the market itself and other people's work and other people's processes. It's very fascinating to me, and there's a
Yep.
lot for me to learn through that. And there's you can have a channel where you just devlogs, and there's been some very successful channels. And to be honest, if you go down that path, you probably have a more likelihood of being successful on YouTube, for instance, because it's pure entertainment constantly, and people are like, yeah, give me more of that. I want to see this bombastic devlogs, and so there's a trade-off there, but that's fine.
To be honest, I like your video when you're analyzing like Kickstarter or launch game or stuff like that. I think it's really fun. Like I say, I knew your channel before you review my game, and I was oh cool, he's reviewing my game, so I decided to poke you, and yeah, I really like when you analyze Kickstarter, and especially I remember you one of them was kind of a failed Kickstarter, and I think the guy was doing the game like a $50 game, and it was an indie game with I think that video was pretty cool. But
well,
yeah,
I always try to keep it. You know, it's never in the. It's never to insult, but if anything, to kind of give assistance or educate as well. In end of the day, it's all just. I mean, what do I know, right? I'm just kind of just saying what I, saying what I think when as I see it, just kind of intuitively. So
I'm a game developer since 2003, and I thought it was funny to do a Kickstarter with a $10 goal, and it was fucking stupid. It was really stupid. It was really stupid. So so what do I know too? Yeah. So yeah, at some point we would just try to see what stick. I made 2 times the same game on Flash. I just did the level for one with a character and stuff, and then I take the same level and change a little bit the gameplay and put another character, and nobody never knew. And one was a failure, one was a success. These were the same level. So there's a little bit of it's not all random. There's a little bit of predictability, like your skill. You can at least get a good game, but a great game is kind of luck. But if you get a good game, you will be able to be profitable and successful. But the great game will give you that little edge more. But that's just by doing some and trying. I had a couple of failure, I had a couple of successes, just trying.
Etienne, this has been fantastic. Thank you so much for talking about Infernax. And when is it coming out? Is there a date set?
Yeah, the 5th of April.
The 5th of April. Awesome. Etienne, thank you so much for making yourself available and for sharing your insights and wisdom. And for those watching, if you haven't yet tried Infernax, go have a play. It really is a masterclass in game design, pacing, and writing. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.